Hi. Yeah, what I'm grateful for is living in San Diego. It's beautiful here, and I'm from Massachusetts, so I appreciate that greatly.
So
And
nice.
then my question is, so right now I actually got Kajabi. I'm relaunching my website, and I'm torn between whether or not I should put my prices on my website or not for my services. And I do dog training in person primarily, shifting it to be virtually eventually as well.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm at right now.
This is such a good question. Okay, both answers are right. You can do either or. They both are great. There's slightly, like I'm coming with an opinion here. There is going to be a difference of like if you should or shouldn't, and I don't like that word, but based on the price and the value of the transformation. So pricing is funny. We're going to do a little sidebar again. If you didn't learn that yet, like, hello, welcome to my world. This is what we do. Um, Price actually doesn't matter at all. It's interesting, right? We think about like industry standard, and I always use the example of a purse. Don't come at me. I went to fashion school. I understand the difference. However, there is a purse that could have four zippers at the exact same quadrant, the same dimensions of the purse, right? It could be identical. And Macy's can sell it for $25. And then Hermes or whatever, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, whomever, Birkin can sell it for $20,000. Now, it could be the exact same dimensions. I understand the Birkin maybe is handmade leather. I went to fashion school. It does not cost $20,000, I assure you. So there can be slight differences in the material. However, the functionality of them could be identical, and one could be sold for $25 and one could be sold for $20,000. So you cannot say, you collective, not you, Ashley, you cannot say that well, there's an industry standard for what it is that I do, and it's what people expect. The point of this conversation is those two purses are very different ideal clients. They solve the exact same problem, but they're for different ideal clients. They offer the same exact solution, but they're for different ideal clients. No different than Walmart and Target. They're both very similar type of stores, but Walmart and Target call in two very different people. So again, going back to Eric's question, like that's why knowing your ideal client is so important, because the way that you speak nuanced is going to be slightly different. Okay. So going back to your question of should I put the price on? When things jump to a high price point, people usually stutter at putting a price on the website. And the reason that people stutter is because they fear that if someone sees the price, they're going to swipe away. Oh my gosh, whoa, sticker shock, $1,000. Oh my God, $3,000. No way. Now, there's two things that are happening here. One, while that might be true, the big issue is that if that is happening and you're not making sales, that's a messaging issue. So if people are seeing it and there's a big sticker shock and they're running the other way, that's actually an opportunity for you, the business owner, to work on your messaging, because all of the content leading up to it and everything on the sales page should present a case as to why it is perceived at the correct value. Now, value in perception is funky, and I always use this example as well. Does anyone here have a water near them? Coffee, water, green juice, anything on your desk? If you do, hold it up. Amazing. Y'all do, because it's 2024 and we're dehydrated, right? Or we think we are. So if I were to sell you this water right now, and I'd say it's $5, it's unicorn tears, it's been shaman blessed, it came from Machu Picchu, incredible water, $5. Do you want it? You're like, no, I just showed you I have my own. But now if we fast forward and you get lost in the desert, we lived in Scottsdale. We just moved a couple months ago. You get lost in the desert out in Arizona somewhere, and you're on day 3 and you're literally not going to make it. You're like this close to drinking your own urine. And I offer you this water. I'm like, shaman blessed, unicorn tears, Machu Picchu, best water you'll ever have, $5. You'd be like, I will pay, Venmo you, take anything you want. My spouse will pay you. Like, please, I'm not going to make it if you don't give me this water. The water didn't change, but the value of the water changed. Can we see the difference here? So it's your job in messaging to make sure that people understand the value. If they don't understand the value and they're perceiving it as it's not that big of a deal, I don't really need it, then you could have $25 and it could be a sticker shock because they're like, I don't really need that. We've all done that. You're like, hair scrunchie, $25? What is this made of? I don't really need that. But if you are like going on for a run or something and your hair was in your face and you're like, this is driving me crazy, and it was the only scrunchie, and you're just like, okay, fine. I can't believe I just paid $25 for a scrunchie, but I did it. The value changes. So going back to answer your question, my assumption is that your rates are probably not astronomical dog training. Can you give me like a kind of a range?
Yeah, anywhere between like 175 to 220 a session. But
Okay.
I'm trying to sell the transformation or like the time
Yes.
versus per session.
100%. So as long as that messaging is super clear, if you have a dog that is absolutely driving you bonkers, who is eating your couch, chewing your things, peeing on everything, pulling you across the street, you've got scraped knees because the dog pulls you down, you're this close from putting it back in the pound, but you feel guilty and it's part of your family. And there's that 1% of the time they snuggle up on the couch with you and you're like, this is why I have a dog. That's where you lean into. It's like, I'm going to help your dog get past all that, right? Like, and so much of dog training, I have a dog, I've had a lot of dogs. So much of the dog training has nothing to do with the dog, it has to do with the human, but we don't want to hear that, right? Like, it's usually the human's fault, it's the human's problem. So when you can lean into that and the value of what that looks like imagine being able to take your dog and your kids out in public and not be scared that your dog is going to attack another dog, not be scared that your dog is going to pull your kid down the street and break your kid's arm. You know, it's like, gosh, if you could just, your 7-year-old has been crying to walk that dog that you got, that like finally you got the dog for the family, and your 7-year-old cries every day, Mom, why can't I take the dog for a walk? And you don't want to let the dog go for a walk with your 7-year-old because it's so out of control that, you know, if it sees one squirrel, that's taking off and your kid's going to have a scraped face. Like, it's the storytelling of that where it's like, it has nothing to do with the 175 an hour. It has everything to do with like how that's going to change the person's life. So if you get really good at storytelling and you're really clear on the value of the transformation, even at 225, 250 an hour, I believe that's a price point that shouldn't really stop people. I don't think that's crazy high over competitors. Now, what I would do is I would split test. So
And what does that
yeah,
mean exactly?
yep. So split testing would be you have a sales page, right? That's where people are going.
Mhm.
So I would have one sales page. They're identical. You clone them. Kajabi, you can clone them. So you have one sales page where on the bottom of it, it does have the two different prices or the one price that you're offering. And on the other page, cloned, identical, you don't have the price. And then what I would do is if you're marketing through social media, like organically, I would just test, and every now and then you change the link that you're putting people to in your DMs or in your stories. If you're sending out emails, you would just try. So you could email half of your list with one of the pages, and then you can email half of your list with the other page and just start to see if there's any sort of feedback. When you put the price on, you might get people that are, you know, they reach out to you, they DM you, they email you, they have more questions, or they're appalled by it. When you don't put the price on, you might notice more people are DMing you because now they're asking you for the price. And that's an opportunity for you to get into a conversation, which is usually pretty helpful because that's where we can really talk to people about making sure they understand the transformation. So I would try both pages and kind of play with where both are at, but you're not talking about a $5,000-$10,000 product where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's how much it is. Click, delete, you know? So I
Mhm.
think at your price point, much like a personal trainer, I do think, I mean, I was a trainer for 18 years and was charging similar prices for an hour. People want to know because they are going to shop around a little bit for money. People are going to shop around for, like, with a dog trainer, I think most people are going for word of mouth referral, geographic location, maybe client testimonials, and then price. Because,
Mhm.
like, is it in the budget? It's not generally something people are putting before food, before kids, before shelter. So I do think there's an element of like, does this make sense? And the last thing I'll say is go all the way back to your ideal client. 175 for your ideal client, depending on who they are, that could be a joke. Like, you could be working with people where like 500 would be a joke.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's a good point. And then, so usually I funnel people into a discovery call first before, like, they can't just buy it online just so I can
Yeah.
like screen them. Would that still work with the landing pages of if I try that, like looking at who's booking a discovery call or yeah, or what are your,
So if you are having people do a call, which is awesome, especially because you want to know about the dog and stuff, if it were a $175 fitness ebook, I'd be like, you shouldn't be doing discovery calls on that, but you do want to know about the person and the dog and where they live and all that type of stuff. Do they have kids? Yada, yada, yada. If you are driving people to a discovery call, I would still split test pages just to kind of see where your audience is at. What you could do is you could say something on the page instead of like, here's, because they can't buy it. So it's like, it's not click here to buy. It's, something along the lines of, if I believe that you're a good fit and we want to, start working together, this will be an investment of, and you can kind of put a range. You can say that on the sales page, or when they book their call, the way that we do it when we would do calls, we have them book a call. Are you doing it through like Calendly?
Yes.
Okay. So once the call is booked, which is the best action to take first, because people take action on it, they book the call, they're super excited. Then something like Calendly can automate reminders for them. But what you can also do is, after the call is booked on Calendly, you can then have a couple intake questions. And in the intake questions, if you're not already doing this, you could ask, like, how old is your dog? What breed is your dog? And if you're accepted, are you willing and ready to invest X amount of dollars into X amount of months of training? And so now you can get on the call with them regardless, whether they say yes or no in that answer, but it's at least giving them an idea before they get on the call. So now there's not going to be that shock when they're talking to you.
That's a great point. Yeah, because I had all my intake questions after the discovery call. Like, okay, they book with me. Here's a whole like behavior questionnaire and new client form. But that's really smart of having like a couple of those important questions before that call.
Yeah.
And to get them like already to have an idea of that range. Because I noticed when I did a range on the call, more people were interested in booking versus when I just said the price, they were like, I don't know why, but when it
Yeah.
was like
So I would do a
$75 difference.
couple. Yeah, totally. I would do a couple light intake questions before the call, just so you know who you're talking to. And then after the call, if they book with you, then that would be like formal onboarding, where now they have to like give you all the like meat and potatoes so that you can get started together. So I would test something like that. Cause again, it's just psychologically going to kind of set them up for an expectation, because expectations equal experience.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited for you to go online. This is a huge industry online right now.
Yeah, I do. I have virtual clients one-on-one, but I want to do like what you're saying, like instead of one-to-one, like one-to-many. So
Yes. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.